While we're waiting to establish a good phone connection halfway across the globe, with our special guest, which you're going to love, I want to go over a couple things that are really important here on the Space Coast and actually throughout the country. First of all, House Resolution 1757. This is a bill that Bill Posey, our congressman here on the Space Coast, has introduced. H.R. 1757, otherwise known as the Deployed Troops Support Act of 2013. Folks, that's why I asked you to grab a pencil and a paper. H.R. 1757. If you live in Brevard County, our Congressman Bill Posey is already on this because he's the one that authored this bill. And it is just a bill. We've got to get it connected with all the other legislators to make sure that it's enacted as law. But I'll speak about this and the importance of it because it is so vital to support our troops. It's in an elongated fashion. I could go through all the details dating back to the Kennedy administration, but the bottom line is, under the Deployed Troops Support Act of 2013, groups like AVET Project and so many others across this country are going to be able to utilize a long-standing program to ship supplies, care packages, and what have you, to our troops that are deployed. And it sounds as if we've established contact with our very special guest, Staff Sergeant Nicholas Gibson. Can you hear me, Nicholas? We're working on that connection, folks, so stick with us. Nicholas, can you hear me? Well, I understand we had a little technical difficulty there, but brother, thank you so much for joining us on American Warrior Radio. For our listeners' sake, where exactly are you calling us from?
So right now I'm calling from the Everest Base Camp at 17,500 feet.
Now, just so to bring the audience up to date that haven't been following your story, Staff Sergeant Nicholas Gibson is a pararescue jumper, a PJ, which is the biggest and baddest folks we've got in the military, particularly the Air Force. A little biographical background, Sarge. What is a PJ and how did you get involved in all that?
So just a background on PJs. We are search and rescue specialists. Specifically are oriented towards combat search and rescue. So if you have any aircrew, pilots, special operations personnel that get injured behind enemy lines, our job is to go and get them, medically treat them, and get them out of there.
So,
as far as my personal background, I grew up in Gulf Breeze, Florida, just outside of Pensacola, and I got into the Air Force because my parents are retired Air Force. My father was a flight surgeon, and my mother was a flight nurse, and so we've got a long-standing history. A lot of our family members in the Air Force, everywhere from F-16 pilots to TACP to med techs to all kinds of personnel. Very close family in the Air Force. So I grew up around it, and I blew and found out about pararescue through my dad and was sold immediately.
Well, a very rich family tradition of service to our country, and we applaud you all, honestly. And your undergrad, you went to the University of Florida, and you were a collegiate swimmer, as I understand.
That's correct. I did 3 years at University of Florida and swam there. Unfortunately, I think I prioritized swimming a little higher than the scholastic part of the school at that point. But learned my lesson and came back around, finished undergrad, and enlisted in the Air Force. Once 9/11 hit, it made my decision easy to go in and enlist.
Well, we've heard that story from so many patriotic Americans, and you do have a lot to offer. And currently, other than what you're doing right now, which I can't wait to get to talk about, but you're also becoming a physician's assistant at Emory University. Is that right?
That's correct. I'm about a year and a half through the program up there at Emory University. It's a really great program. The faculty are phenomenal, and Atlanta, Georgia has really grown on me and become a second home for me. So I'm very fortunate to have landed there. And once this adventure is over, I'm going to pick right back up in the clinical rotations.
Outstanding. And you are currently assigned to the 920th Rescue Wing here at Patrick Air Force Base, correct?
That is correct.
Okay, so
I actually transferred over from the 212th Rescue Squadron up in Alaska, and the 920th Rescue Wing has also become a home for me. So I'm very proud to be a member of the great team.
and that tour up in Alaska plays a part in what you're doing right now. But just to back up a moment, you really do have a heart to serve, as does your entire family. Your dad being a flight surgeon, retired colonel, your mom being a colonel, a retired colonel in the Air Force, and she specializes in treatment of post-traumatic stress disorder. Am I right?
That's right. After she retired from the Air Force, or while she was actually as a reservist herself, she got her PhD as a psychologist, and now travels around as what we call an MFLAC, or Military Family Life Counselor, and counsels all kinds of issues with troops returning home and their families, and gives them an opportunity to seek help off the record so that they can try to nip some of these serious veterans issues and dependence issues in the bud, because it's a real problem for them.
Okay, so while you're at Emory, you're working on issues that are important to our military and veteran community. Do you have a particular focus in your physician assistant treatment training that you're looking to bring out and help your career?
Absolutely. Absolutely. I am just now transitioning out of my position. Re-identify who you're talking to. Representative in the American Association of Physician Assistants, and one of the reasons I wanted to seek this out was because I noticed that the programs were really they were lacking, but they were also lacking guidance from veterans to address the veterans' healthcare issues, such things like PTSD, post-traumatic stress disorder, traumatic brain injury. But the big focus for me was suicide rates. I just feel as though this is one of those things that is the most preventable thing for us. We can, civilian and military alike, can reach out to their veterans coming back from overseas and help them to address the problems, or at least get them talking about their issues and seeking the appropriate help. But we lost more veterans to suicide than we did in Afghanistan last year, and that number just says to me that we actually have war on our own soil. We've got to address that and win that war.
And brother, you are such an accomplished individual. In every pursuit you've taken, you've been an overcomer. You've just succeeded wildly. And I want to jump right in now. You're many thousands of miles away, folks. We're talking to Staff Sergeant Nick Gisbson. He is a pararescue jumper from the 920th Rescue Wing right here at Patrick Air Force Base, and you have been selected and are currently participating in the U.S. Air Force 7 Summits Challenge. Tell us about, first of all, tell the audience where the heck you are right now as we're talking.
So right now I'm actually sitting in our communications tent here in Everest Base Camp at the foot of the Kumbhi Fall, and just get winding down for the day. It's nighttime here, and about to hit the track and start a new adventure tomorrow.
And you guys, the whole team, go ahead.
USAF 7 Summits Challenge, sorry, the USAF 7 Summits Challenge team is a group of airmen that have kind of gone out of their way to want to bring good light to the Air Force and to the military forces out there, and do it by doing something they love doing, which is climbing mountains. And so we had a few guys here, Rob Marshall, who has led the way and really made great strides to get airmen involved and really challenge airmen and say, hey, just because you've been overseas and you had things going on, that you can't get outside and use nature and use the mountains to deal with the things that are going on inside you from what you've seen and what you've had to do overseas.
Well, for sure, and you are a special compliment to this team, and tell us a little bit about that, because you, as a PJ, you guys have some really terrific training in medical intervention and emergency medicine. Am I right?
Absolutely. Being a PJ, the whole concept is to be all-encompassing, so that essentially wherever our pilots, our air crew, our special operations forces can get in trouble, we want to have the training, the skills, and the equipment
Well, speak about that for a moment, because as this expedition has been taking place, you as the chief medical officer of the team, I mean, you have a lot of responsibility. Not only do you have to do all the climbing that's necessary to be a member of the team, which, by the way, reflect back for a moment, Staff Sergeant Nick Gisbson, a PJ from the 920th, is who's on the line with us right now. You were assigned up in Alaska. Did you do some mountain climbing up there?
I did. I didn't do. I wish I could have done more. As a part-timer, sometimes you're in and out a lot, especially if you have other work outside there. But we definitely did some time in the mountains, and we would go up into the Alaskan range and work with the National Park Service mountaineering rangers up there. And part of our job is pulling rotations up on Mount McKinley or Denali, and we'll spend a month to a month and a half up there doing some. Any kind of rescue that's needed, wherever the climbers get in trouble, we get a chance to get up there and treat them medically. So, but I tell you what, that group up there in Alaska, I pale in comparison to them. There's some great mountaineers up there, some great road technicians, and just some great overall PJs. And I was very fortunate to have the time with them that I did.
Well, and I have to mention, as I said, part of your responsibility during this expedition, because it's more than just an effort, you guys are kicking butt, so much so that you told me the other day that the Sherpas, which are the locals that help guide the expedition, have declared our Air Force team, which you're a strong member of, as as the best team on the mountain right now.
Yeah, we actually got word of this. One of our guys that's been spending a lot of time with the Sherpa brought us aside and said, "Hey, I don't want to blast this out there, but I want everybody to know that the Sherpa have been speaking very highly of us and have even been referring to us as one of, if not the strongest large team on the mountain." And we're very proud to be able to represent the Air Force in that kind of light, and I get a chance to bring the 920th Rescue Wing in.
Oh, for sure. The 920th has been so supportive of you, putting out press releases and really pushing the fact that you guys have a blog where folks back here on U.S. soil can follow you. But I want to go over a couple other things. One of the guys on the expedition team said, wrote in the blog, PJ Nick Gisbson was able to lance a particular foot injury that one of the climbers got and got him back up and going in short order. They're affectionately referring to you now as Gibby, Gibby, quickly earned a reputation as the go-to medic for everybody within earshot, especially at the higher camps where medical support is much harder to come by. So it's probably not just your own team you're helping, but when others have problems, you're reaching out to them as well.
Sure, yeah. We, especially at the high camps, down here at base camp, we have what's called the Everest ER, run by the Himalayan Rescue Association, and they've got some docs doing some great work down here, and they're always on the horn for us if we need them. But when you get up high and it comes to procedures, there's really very few options up there, and what's nice is that even if you get somebody up there who may be a physician or something like that, sometimes working in that environment is not always very fortunately for PJs. We train consistently in austere environments and practicing procedures in medicine and anything we can do to save lives in really austere environments. So Camp 2, Camp 3, up here in the Khumbu is the perfect environment for a PJ to really kind of be able to practice a lot of what we've trained on. So there's been everybody from Sherpa to climbers, on our Chinese team that get to a point where they have oxygen saturation levels in the 40s, or maybe they are, getting to the point where they're maybe a little bit out of it and can't stand up and walk right. And those are serious life-threatening signs.
Oh, I'm sure.
Possibly for altitude injuries. You got to address them immediately.
Okay, and the cold, thin, dry air, you said, can wreak havoc on the lungs. Is that what you're talking about, the Khumbu cough?
Absolutely. Yeah, the Khumbu cough is a tough condition to shake, and that really cold, dry air gets into your lungs and it causes reactions within your body, some inflammation, some
And is that related or unrelated to HAPE, Hilo Alpha Papa Echo? What is that, and what is HACE? Are those particular illnesses that happen to climbers at high altitude?
They are. They don't always. It's not something that is a guarantee to happen. It's kind of rare, but when it does happen, it's something you have to address. And HAPE is high altitude pulmonary edema, and while the physiology is still something that we are figuring out as medical professionals, but essentially the low ambient pressure in the dry air, I'm sure doesn't help, causes you to your fluid, your lungs to fill with fluid. And with that fluid there, you're not getting oxygen into your bloodstream, and that becomes a very life-threatening situation. So you have to descend, take some medication, and be very careful. And then the even bigger life threat is high altitude cerebral edema, or HACE. And HACE is where you have swelling in your, essentially swelling of your brain.
Oh my!
Or increased fluid around there, and it increases that pressure within your cranium. And as most people know from watching TV or whatever, pressure on your brain causes funny things to happen in your body, and people start walking funny and making weird decisions. And next thing you know, you're up by the Hillary step, and somebody's taking their hat and their coat off and acting like they're on the beach somewhere. So these are the kind of things that get people in real trouble. So we got to get them down, and we got to give them some medication.
And you are there to watch for these signs and symptoms as well as doing the climb yourself, because you're not just a passive participant. You're right there in the middle of this climb. And one of the fellow bloggers on your team said that your work on the team and the expedition no doubt establishes some kind of record for highest altitude work ever done by a U.S. Air Force PJ. So hats off to you there. But I wanted to mention also that as part of your thesis for your master's degree for your physician assistant's license, you're doing some other medical research as well as being the journalist photographer of the entire expedition. Am I right?
That's correct. Actually, I was.
You're a busy man out there.
Sorry?
I said you are a very busy man on that mountain.
Yeah, it's definitely. I've been trying to keep myself busy and keep my mind focused on things like medicine. And photography is just a passion for me, and I've been fortunate that I've been bringing some equipment up here.
What's the weather like on the mountain?
The adventure and document some things, and hopefully I'll be able to even do a gallery show in Atlanta when I get back. So Academic University might be able to help me out a little bit with that. But in terms of the research, yeah, just trying to lock in some master's thesis data here so I can tie in this adventure and this high altitude experience with something that could be beneficial, or at least something that could be interesting for the field of medicine that I want to go into, which is emergency medicine.
Well, sure. And folks, again, we're talking to Pararescue Jumper Staff Sergeant Nick Gisbson, who is on Mount Everest right now, ready to make a summit. You're part of the first U.S. military team on the highest mountain on Earth. Can you tell us right now, I know it's evening there, what's the weather like right now? Because I've got some information from your blog, but give us an example of what it's like right now.
Right now, I honestly couldn't give you an accurate temperature, but I'd say it's probably somewhere in the teens here at base camp. And we had some fog and some haze as we were all kind of getting back and crawling into our tents. But it's the forecast is for it to start clearing up, and a little bit of haze, a little bit of snow is no problem. We just like to keep the winds away, and as long as the temperatures are manageable, which so far they have been. So, just as long as we keep good visibility and we keep the winds down, the winds can get pretty heavy up here. And also, winds can lead to frostbite, which is another serious concern. We actually did lose somebody in terms of going home because they got, not from our team, but from another person in the guide group here who got a little frostbite on their ear and their pinky on the way down. So we want to make sure we all are staying protected and watching the weather and not pushing it into weather that we don't necessarily have to.
Right, and there is some avalanches that occur, and I understand they sound like jet engines or freight trains when it does happen, right?
Oh yeah, they will definitely get your attention. And this climb and this route has been organized in a way to avoid these avalanches. But there's areas that you're going to have some danger areas where you just can't avoid it, and you gotta be quick and you gotta get through those areas fast. And the less time you expose yourself to that, the better. But these avalanches are massive up here, and you get several a day just throughout the valley here that we see. But most of them are not even as concerned. Just interesting thing to hear at night when you're trying to get to sleep.
Well, I want to mention to everybody out there that you can go to www.usaf7, the number 7, summits.com/blog. That's www.usaf7summits.com/blog, where you're going to find some incredible photos, no doubt taken by the gentleman we're speaking to right now, pararescue jumper Staff Sergeant Nick Gisbson, who is awaiting to go on the summit. Just real quick, give us a sense of what a normal day is, because if you go on the blog, folks, and you look up 11 May, Awaiting Summit Push, that's the title of the entry. Describe breakfast at 0800. What'd you have for chow that day? What's your typical breakfast?
A typical breakfast for us would be they have kind of a ham and egg mix on some toast, and we'll do tea at every meal here. But a lot of us will drink maybe some sort of juice mixed with hot water. It's been tough to keep up with the calorie count. Myself, I've actually lost 22 pounds since starting the trip about a month and a half ago, and there's guys that have lost even more, up to 40 pounds. Your appetite goes, you're burning way more calories than you can possibly consume, and so yeah, you try to get as much into you as possible.
Well, no kidding. 22 pounds, that's a lot, but you're a big, strong man, and I know you guys are all going to make the summit. You're going to make a push for the summit on the 19th, correct?
That's correct. We leave tomorrow morning for Camp 2. We're going to stay...
That would be tomorrow morning, Sunday.
3, and spend one night there, and then we're gonna go to Camp 4 and probably spend about a few hours resting, and then just push on, probably sometime in the late evening, anywhere between 9 and 11 at night, and essentially climb through the night and hopefully get to the summit on the 19th just as the sun is breaking the horizon, and then we've got clear visibility and hopefully good weather for the trip down.
Well, brother, I gotta tell you, we are so proud of you, your accomplishments before you even started the mountain climbing expedition, everything you've done before and everything you're doing now and everything you're going to do in the future. You're an amazing man. We really are behind you 100%. I want to throw the blog out there again because there's some incredible blog entries as well as photos. USAF number 7 summits.com/blog. Check it out and support these men because they are the first U.S. Air Force team to summit Mount Everest. You're going to hear it again on American Warrior Radio because we'll have Nick Gisbson back with us once they successfully summit. That's tomorrow, the 19th. They're going for the mountain. They're going for the top. And I know you do it. When you get up on top, you're going to do some push-ups, right?
Yeah, that's the plan. We'll see how many it actually comes down to. We know we definitely don't want to exert ourselves to the point where we take anything away from the trip down, because that's the part we want to pay the most attention to because it's the most dangerous. So, but we definitely are going to get up there, at least do 1 or 2 at minimum, because our fallen warriors that we do these push-ups for, these memorial push-ups for, deserve at least that from us.
Well, Sarge, thank you so much for spending time with us again on American Warrior Radio, and we're so looking forward to hearing about the successful summit and return to our awesome country that you represent so beautifully. Sarge, good luck, be safe, and know that everybody back here, from the 920th Wing to everybody in Brevard County and across this great nation of ours, is behind you guys. Best of luck, be safe, and we'll talk to you again soon, sir.
Thank you, Garen. The honor's all mine. take care. And we'll talk to you when we get back.
You bet. Folks, again, that's Staff Sergeant Nick Gisbson. He's a pararescue jumper out of the 920th Rescue Wing right here at Patrick Air Force Base. Stick with us on American Warrior Radio. We'll be back in just a moment.